Tom and Alex had been friends since college. They met in their architecture class, sitting next to each other on the first day. Tom was the quiet one who always had his homework done perfectly. Alex was the guy who made everyone laugh but somehow still got good grades. They balanced each other out perfectly. After graduation, most of their classmates went to work for big companies in the city. But Tom and Alex had a different dream. They wanted to start their own business. So they rented a tiny apartment that barely had enough room for two desks and a coffee machine. For 3 years, they lived on instant noodles and worked 18-hour days. Those early days were tough. Sometimes they couldn't even afford to heat the apartment in winter. They would wear their coats inside and joke about it. "At least we're suffering together," Alex would say, rubbing his hands together to stay warm. Tom would just smile and keep working on their latest project. But slowly, things got better. They landed their first big client, then another. Word spread about these two young guys who really cared about their work. 5 years after starting in that cramped apartment, they had a real office with 10 employees. Tom handled the business side of things. Alex was the creative genius who came up with amazing designs. Their friendship grew stronger through all the struggles. They knew everything about each other. Alex knew that Tom had nightmares about failing and letting people down. Tom knew that Alex called his mother every Sunday without fail, even when he was traveling for work. When Tom met Lisa at a coffee shop near their office, Alex was the first person he told. Lisa was a teacher at the local elementary school. She had kind eyes and a laugh that made Tom forget about all his worries. Alex could see his friend was completely smitten from day one. "You're going to marry her," Alex said after meeting Lisa for the first time. They were all having dinner together, and Alex watched how Tom looked at her when she wasn't paying attention. "Don't be crazy," Tom said, but he was smiling. 6 months later, Tom was planning a proposal. Of course, Alex helped him pick out the ring. They spent an entire Saturday going from store to store until they found the perfect one. Alex was more nervous than Tom when the big day came. The proposal went perfectly. Lisa said yes, and Tom immediately called Alex from the restaurant to share the news. Alex was so happy he cried right there in his apartment. These were the kinds of friends they were to each other. Alex was Tom's best man at the wedding. He gave a speech that made everyone laugh and cry at the same time. He talked about how Tom was the most loyal person he'd ever known, and how lucky Lisa was to have found him. But everyone could see that Alex felt just as lucky to have Tom as a friend. When Tom and Lisa had their first child, a daughter they named Katie, Alex was right there in the hospital waiting room. When their son Bobby came along 2 years later, Alex was the first person besides family to hold him. The kids grew up calling him Uncle Alex, even though they weren't related by blood. Tom and Lisa's house became Alex's second home. He had his own key and would often show up for Sunday dinners. Without being invited, Lisa would always set in extra plate, knowing he might appear. The kids would run to the door when they heard his car in the driveway. Alex never married or had kids of his own. He dated sometimes, but nothing ever lasted. Tom and Lisa's family filled that empty space in his life. He was at every birthday party, every school play, every soccer game. When Katie learned to ride a bike, Alex was there cheering. When Bobby was scared of the dark, Uncle Alex bought him a special nightlight. Tom trusted Alex with everything. Alex knew where they kept their spare house key, their bank account passwords, and even where Tom hid Lisa's birthday presents. When Tom and Lisa went on vacation, Alex would house sit and take care of their dog. The kids preferred it when Uncle Alex watched them because he let them stay up later and eat ice cream for breakfast. Their business continued to grow. They had offices in 3 cities now, and their designs were winning awards. But success never changed their friendship. They still had lunch together every Tuesday, just like they had since college. They still called each other when something important happened, good or bad. Tom often said that Alex was more like a brother than a friend. They had been through everything together, the struggles of starting a business, the joy of success, family celebrations, and life's disappointments. There was nothing they couldn't talk about, no secret they couldn't share. Alex felt the same way. Tom's family was his family. Tom's problems were his problems. If Tom needed something, Alex would drop everything to help. If Alex was going through a tough time, Tom was always there to listen. Lisa used to joke that she married two men instead of one because Alex was always around, but she loved having him as part of their lives. She knew that her husband's friendship with Alex made him a better person, and Alex's presence made their family stronger. Neither Tom nor Alex could imagine their lives without each other. They had built something special over the years, not just a successful business, but a bond that seemed unbreakable. They were the kind of friends who would do anything for each other, no questions asked. This trust, this deep connection, this absolute faith in each other would soon be tested in ways neither of them could imagine. Because life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges at us. And sometimes the people we love most need us in ways we never thought possible. The foundation they had built together, years of loyalty, trust, and unconditional support, was about to face the ultimate test, and neither Tom nor Alex had any idea what was coming next. It started with a stomach ache that wouldn't go away. Tom thought it was just stress from work. Their company was bidding on the biggest project they'd ever attempted, and the pressure was intense. He popped antacids like candy and kept working. Late into the night, Lisa noticed he wasn't eating much at dinner. "You're just pushing food around your plate," she said one evening. "When's the last time you actually finished a meal?" Tom couldn't remember. Everything tasted wrong lately, and he felt full after just a few bites. But he brushed off her concerns. "It's just work stress. Once we land this contract, I'll be fine." Alex noticed it too. During their Tuesday lunch, Tom barely touched his sandwich. "You're losing weight," Alex said, studying his friend's face. "And you look tired all the time." "Thanks for the pep talk," Tom joked. But his smile didn't reach his eyes. When Tom finally went to the doctor, it was because Lisa practically dragged him there. She made the appointment and drove him to the clinic herself. "You're going, and that's final," she said in her teacher voice that meant business. The doctor ran some tests, then more tests. Then he sent Tom to a specialist. The word cancer was mentioned for the first time during that visit. Tom felt like the room was spinning. The specialist used big medical words that Tom didn't understand. But he caught the important parts: pancreatic cancer, advanced stage, aggressive. Tom sat in his car in the hospital parking lot for an hour after the appointment, staring at nothing. He couldn't bring himself to start the engine and go home to tell Lisa. How do you walk into your house and destroy your family's entire world with just a few words? When he finally got home, Lisa was in the kitchen helping Bobby with his homework, while Katie practiced piano in the living room. It was such a normal, perfect scene. Tom wanted to freeze that moment forever before everything changed. "How did it go?" Lisa asked, looking up from Bobby's math worksheet. Tom couldn't say the words. He just shook his head, and Lisa understood immediately. She sent the kids upstairs and held Tom while he cried for the first time since his father had died years ago. The next few weeks were a blur of doctor appointments, second opinions, and treatment plans. The cancer was to advance for surgery. Chemotherapy might buy some time, but not much. The doctors spoke in months, not years. Alex was at the house every day now. He handled things at the office so Tom could focus on his treatment. He drove Tom to appointments when Lisa couldn't get time off from school. He helped Katie with her science project and taught Bobby how to throw a curveball in the backyard. 3 months into the diagnosis, Tom wasn't responding well to treatment. The chemotherapy made him sick and weak, but the cancer kept growing. The doctors were running out of options to try. It was during one of those difficult nights that Tom asked Alex to stay late after Lisa and the kids had gone to bed. They sat in Tom's home office, the same room where they used to plan their business dreams. Now they were planning something much more serious. "I need to talk to you about something," Tom said. His voice was hoarse from the treatment, and he looked so much older than his 45 years. "Something important." Alex leaned forward in his chair. "Whatever you need, man. You know that." Tom was quiet for a long time, staring at a family photo on his desk. Lisa has never been alone. We met when she was 22, and we've been together ever since. She doesn't know how to handle money or make big decisions by herself. I've always taken care of everything. She's stronger than you think, Alex said gently. Maybe. But the kids, Alex, Katie's going to be in high school next year. Bobby's only 12. They need stability. They need someone who can be there for them, not just visit on weekends or holidays. Alex nodded, wondering where this conversation was heading. Tom took a deep breath. I've been thinking about this for weeks. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. He paused, looking directly at his best friend. I want you to marry Lisa. After I'm gone. The words hung in the air like a bomb that hadn't exploded yet. Alex stared at Tom, sure he had misheard. What did you just say? You heard me right. I want you to take care of my family, not just financially or as a friend. I want you to be their husband and father. Alex stood up so fast his chair almost fell over. Tom, you can't be serious. That's not how it works. You can't just hand over your wife like she's a piece of property. That's not what I'm doing, Tom said calmly. I'm asking my best friend to love and protect the people I care about most when I can't anymore. This is insane. Lisa would never agree to this, and even if she did, it would be wrong. She needs time to grieve, to figure out her own life. Tom shook his head. You don't understand. I see how lost she gets when I'm in the hospital for a few days. Yesterday she called me crying because the washing machine was making a weird noise, and she didn't know what to do. She's terrified of being alone. Alex paced around the small office. So help her learn to be independent. Teach her these things now while you still can. There's no time for that, and even if there was, what about the kids? Katie barely talks to anyone except family. Bobby's grades are already slipping because he's worried about me. They need stability, not a broken single mother trying to figure everything out. They need their mother, Tom, not some replacement father. They need both. And you're not a replacement. You're family. You've been Uncle Alex their whole lives. The transition would be natural. Alex stopped pacing and looked at his friend. Tom's face was gone from the treatment, but his eyes were determined. This wasn't a random idea born from medication or desperation. He had thought this through. You really believe this is the right thing to do? Alex asked. I believe you're the only person I trust enough to ask. I believe Lisa could learn to love you because you're everything good that I try to be. I believe my kids would be lucky to have you as a father figure. Alex sat back down, his head spinning. This is too much, Tom. You're asking me to plan a life I never wanted with people who deserve better than an arranged situation. I'm asking you to love my family the way you already do, just more officially. I'm asking you to be the man I know you are. They sat in silence for several minutes. Finally, Alex spoke. What does Lisa think about this brilliant plan of yours? She doesn't know, and she can't know until after I'm gone. If she knew now, it would change everything between all of us. It would make my last months with her feel fake. So you want me to lie to her too? I want you to let her fall in love with you naturally, in her own time. I just want to know that when she's ready, you'll be there. Alex looked at his best friend, seeing both the stubborn determination that had made their business successful and the desperate love of a father trying to protect his children beyond the grave. I need time to think about this, Alex said finally. Tom nodded. Take all the time you need. But Alex, please don't say no just because it sounds strange. Think about whether it's right for them. That's all I'm asking. As Alex drove home that night, he couldn't stop thinking about Tom's words. The request was impossible, unethical, and completely crazy. But as he thought about Lisa struggling alone and the kids growing up without the guidance they needed, he began to understand Tom's desperation. Maybe love wasn't always about romance and fairy tales. Maybe sometimes love was about making impossible promises to protect the people who mattered most. Alex couldn't sleep that night. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, Tom's words playing over and over in his mind every time he closed his eyes. He saw Lisa's face when she got the cancer diagnosis. He remembered how she looked so small and frightened like a lost child. The next morning, Alex went to work early. hoping to lose himself in blueprints and project deadlines. But every time his phone rang, he jumped, thinking it might be Tom calling to discuss their conversation. It never was. At lunch, instead of going to their usual restaurant, Alex drove to the elementary school where Lisa taught. He sat in his car across the street, watching kids play in the schoolyard. Through the classroom window, he could see Lisa reading to a group of second graders. She looked so natural with children, so patient and caring. For the first time, Alex allowed himself to really think about Tom's request, not the shock of it, but the actual idea. Could he marry Lisa? Could he be a father to Katie and Bobby? The thought terrified him. He never even lived with a girlfriend. For more than a few months, he knew nothing about raising kids or running a household. What if he was terrible at it? What if he let Tom down? What if he made everything worse for the family? But then he remembered last weekend when Bobby had scraped his knee falling off his bike. Lisa was at the grocery store, and Tom was too weak from treatment to chase after an active 12-year-old. Alex had cleaned the wound, put on a bandage, and distracted Bobby with jokes until he stopped crying. It had felt natural, like something he was meant to do. Over the next few weeks, Alex found himself paying closer attention to the family dynamics. He noticed how Lisa struggled with things that Tom used to handle easily. The garbage disposal broke, and she spent an hour on the phone with 3 different repair companies, getting more confused with each call. Alex fixed it in 10 minutes with a wrench and some basic knowledge. When Katie needed help with her science fair project, Lisa looked overwhelmed. "I was always terrible at science," she admitted to Alex. "Tom usually helps her with this stuff." Alex ended up spending the entire Saturday helping Katie build a volcano that actually worked. The smile on her face when it erupted perfectly was worth every minute. Bobby was having trouble in math class. His teacher called home to say he seemed distracted and his grades were dropping. Lisa sat at the kitchen table trying to help him with fractions, but she was getting frustrated. "I don't understand this new way they teach math," she said, nearly in tears. Alex looked at the homework and realized it wasn't that different from the calculations they used in architecture. He sat down with Bobby and explained fractions using pizza slices and building blocks. Within an hour, Bobby understood concepts that had been confusing him for weeks. These little moments started to add up. Alex began to see what Tom meant about the family needing more than just financial support or occasional help. They needed someone who could be present for all the daily challenges and small victories that make up family life. But the ethical question still bothered Alex. How could he pursue a relationship with Lisa while she was grieving? How could he be with her knowing it started as an arrangement rather than natural attraction? Would their relationship ever be real if it began with such an artificial foundation? One evening, about a month after Tom's shocking request, Alex was at the house helping Lisa organize insurance paperwork. Tom was sleeping upstairs, exhausted from his latest treatment. Katie was at a friend's house, and Bobby was in his room, doing homework. "I don't know what I'd do without you," Lisa said suddenly. She was sitting on the floor surrounded by medical bills and insurance forms. "You've been taking care of all of us. Tom's my best friend. This is what friends do." Lisa looked up at him with tired eyes. "It's more than that, though. You're here every day. You're helping with the kids, fixing things around the house, handling business problems so Tom doesn't have to worry. You're acting like..." She stopped herself before finishing the sentence. But Alex knew what she was going to say. He was acting like a husband and father. "I care about you guys," Alex said simply. "All of you. I know you do. And I want you to know how much it means to me. To all of us." She paused, organizing a stack of papers. "Sometimes I feel guilty for depending on you so much. This isn't your responsibility. Don't feel guilty. I want to help. But what happens after?" The question hung in the air. What happens when Tom is gone and you want to get back to your own life? The kids are already so attached to you. Katie talks about Uncle Alex constantly. Bobby asks for you when he has nightmares. Alex felt his heart break a little. "I'm not going anywhere, Lisa. I promise. You say that now, but eventually you'll want your own family. You'll meet someone and get married. And we'll just be your friend's widow and kids that you help out sometimes. That's not going to happen. How can you be so sure? Alex wanted to tell her everything in that moment. About Tom's request, about his growing feelings for her, about how he was already starting to think of them as his family. But he couldn't. Tom was right about one thing. If Lisa knew about their conversation, it would change everything. Instead, Alex got down on the floor next to her and helped sort the insurance papers. I'm sure because some things are more important than traditional expectations. You and Katie and Bobby and Tom, you're my family. That doesn't change just because circumstances change. Lisa smiled for the first time in weeks. You're a good man, Alex. Tom always said you were the best person he knew. Tom's pretty great himself. He is. And I know he worries about us, about what will happen after. Lisa's voice got quiet. Sometimes I catch him watching me try to handle things on my own, and I can see the worry in his eyes. He's trying so hard to teach me everything before he runs out of time. Alex's stomach tightened. Tom was preparing Lisa for life without him, probably hoping she'd naturally turn to Alex for support. You're stronger than you think, Alex said, but you don't have to do everything alone. I know. I have you. Those 3 words carried so much weight. Lisa had said them simply, as a statement of fact, but Alex heard the deeper meaning. She was already depending on him emotionally, not just practically. That night, Alex made his decision. He drove to Tom's house and found his friend sitting in the backyard despite the cool evening air. Tom looked frail in his thick sweater, but he seemed more at peace than he had in weeks. I've been thinking about what you asked me, Alex said, sitting in the chair next to Tom. And it's crazy. It goes against everything I thought I believed about love and marriage and family. Tom nodded. I know, but I also know that I love them, all of them. And I can't stand the thought of them struggling alone when I could help. So, Alex took a deep breath. So yes, I promise, when the time comes. If Lisa is open to it, I'll be there for her. For all of them, not just as a friend, but as whatever they need me to be. Tom's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. You don't know what this means to me. I think I do. But Tom, you have to understand, this has to happen naturally. I won't manipulate Lisa or push her into anything. If she chooses this, it has to be because she wants it, not because she feels obligated. I understand. I just needed to know that someone I trust will be watching out for them. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, both lost in their own thoughts. Finally, Tom spoke again. I have one more request. Alex looked at him warily. What now? Don't wait too long. Lisa's going to need support sooner rather than later. And the kids need stability. I'm not asking you to propose at my funeral. But don't let them drift for years while you wait for the perfect moment. Alex nodded. I'll follow their lead. When they're ready, I'll be ready. Good. Now let's go inside. I want to spend some time with my family while I still can. As they walked back toward the house, Alex realized that his life had just changed completely. He made a promise that would shape his entire future. But looking through the kitchen window at Lisa helping Bobby with homework while Katie set the table for dinner, he felt something unexpected. He felt like he was coming home. Tom passed away on a Tuesday morning in March. The rain was coming down hard, tapping against the hospital windows like nature was crying along with everyone else. Lisa held his hand until the very end, with Alex and the kids right there beside her. Tom's last words were take care of each other, and everyone thought he was talking to all of them. Only Alex knew those words were meant especially for him. The funeral was packed with people. Tom had touched so many lives through their business, through Lisa's teaching community, and through their neighborhood. Alex gave the eulogy, talking about friendship, loyalty, and the kind of man Tom was. His voice cracked when he mentioned how Tom's greatest achievement wasn't any building they designed, but the beautiful family he created. After everyone left and the flowers were taken away, the real grief began. The house felt empty without Tom's presence. Lisa would walk into a room and expect to see him there. Katie would come downstairs in the morning calling for her dad before remembering he was gone. Bobby started having nightmares and would crawl into his mother's bed. Both of them crying together in the dark. Alex came by every day, just like he had when Tom was sick, but now it felt different. Before, he was helping a friend's family during a difficult time. Now he was the only stable adult figure in their lives. The weight of Tom's request sat heavy on his shoulders. Lisa was struggling with everything. The insurance company needed endless paperwork. The bank required her signature on dozens of forms. People kept calling about business matters that she didn't understand. She would sit at Tom's desk with papers scattered everywhere, looking completely overwhelmed. "I don't know how he kept track of all this," she said one afternoon, holding a letter from their accountant. "Half of these words don't even make sense to me." Alex sat down next to her and helped sort through everything. He explained the insurance process, organized the important documents, and handled the business calls that were too complicated for Lisa to deal with. Slowly, he was taking over all the responsibilities that Tom used to handle. The kids needed him too, but in different ways. Katie, now 16, was trying to be strong for everyone else. She helped with dinner, did laundry without being asked, and never complained about anything. But Alex could see the sadness in her eyes. She was growing up too fast, taking on responsibilities that should have been her mother's. Bobby was only 14 and didn't hide his emotions as well. He got angry at random things, cried over homework, and refused to talk about his feelings. His grades dropped even more, and his teachers started calling with concerns. Alex found himself becoming the person they all turned to when the dishwasher broke. Lisa called Alex. When Katie needed help with her college applications, she asked Alex to look them over. When Bobby got in trouble at school for fighting, the principal called Alex along with Lisa. It felt natural, but also strange. Alex was living a double life. During the day, he was Uncle Alex, the family friend helping out during a difficult time. But inside, he was slowly becoming the husband and father that Tom had asked him to be. 6 months after the funeral, things started to change. Lisa began to rely on Alex not just for practical help, but for emotional support too. When she had a bad day at work, she would call him. When she couldn't sleep because she missed Tom, Alex would come over and they would sit on the porch talking until she felt better. The turning point came during Katie's high school graduation. It was a beautiful spring day, and Katie looked so grown up in her cap and gown. Lisa was crying before the ceremony even started. "Tom should be here," she whispered to Alex as they found their seats. He was so excited about this day. He already picked out his camera and everything. Alex put his arm around her shoulders. "He is here. Look at Katie up there. She has his determination, his kindness. Tom isn't everything good about her." During the ceremony, when Katie's name was called, Lisa gripped Alex's hand so tight it almost hurt. They both cheered louder than any other family there. Katie waved at them from the stage, her smile bright despite the tears in her eyes. After the ceremony, Katie ran to them and hugged them both at the same time. "I wish Dad was here," she said. "He would be so proud of you," Alex said, and he meant every word. That evening, they had a small celebration at home. Bobby had made a cake that was slightly lopsided but tasted perfect. Katie opened her graduation gifts, including a laptop from Alex for college. Lisa had found one of Tom's old cards and gave it to Katie, along with a letter he had written before he died. As Katie read her father's words, everyone cried again. But this time it felt different. It wasn't just sadness anymore. There was love, pride, and hope mixed in with the grief. Later that night, after the kids had gone to bed, Alex helped Lisa clean up the kitchen. They worked in comfortable silence, moving around each other easily like they'd been doing this together for years. "Thank you," Lisa said suddenly, "for everything today, for everything these past months. You don't need to thank me." "Yes, I do. You didn't have to do any of this. You could have helped out occasionally and gotten back to your own life. But you've been here for every single thing, every doctor's appointment, every school event, every late-night emergency." Alex stopped washing dishes and looked at her. "Where else would I be, living your own life? Dating someone, thinking about your own future instead of taking care of someone else's family. This is my life now. You and Katie and Bobby are my future." Lisa was quiet for a moment, trying the same plate over and over. "Sometimes I feel guilty about how much we depend on you. It's not fair to ask so much of a friend." "You're not just a friend anymore," Alex said softly. "I don't know exactly what we are, but it's more than friendship." Lisa set down the plate and looked at him. For the first time since Tom's death, Alex saw something other than sadness in her eyes. There was warmth there, and maybe something deeper. "I've been feeling that too," she admitted. "But I didn't know if it was real or if I was just grateful for your help." "What do you think now?" "I think," Lisa said, stepping closer to him, "that Tom was right about a lot of things. He always said you were the best man he knew. He said you had the biggest heart of anyone he'd ever met." "Lisa, I know this is complicated. I know it's probably too soon. But I also know that life is short and unpredictable. Tom taught me that." She reached up and touched Alex's face gently. "I think I'm falling in love with you, and that scares me and makes me feel guilty and happy all at the same time." Alex covered her hand with his. "I love you too. I love all of you. I have for a long time." "How long?" "Longer than I should admit. Maybe longer than I even realized myself." Lisa smiled for the first time in months. A real smile that reached her eyes. "What do we do now?" "We take it slow. We figure it out together. And we make sure Katie and Bobby are okay with whatever this becomes." Lisa nodded. "Together." That night, as Alex drove home, he thought about Tom's request. His friend had been right about so many things. Lisa did need more than just practical help. The kids did need stability and a father figure. And somehow, without planning it or forcing it, they had all become a family. Alex realized that what had started as an impossible promise was becoming something real and beautiful. Tom had seen something that none of them had recognized at the time. He had known that love could grow in unexpected ways, and that sometimes the best relationships come from the deepest friendships. The guilt was still there. Alex wondered if he would ever stop questioning whether his feelings were genuine or just the result of Tom's influence. But when he thought about Lisa's smile tonight, and Katie's excitement about college, and Bobby's gradual return to happiness, he knew that whatever had brought them together, what they had now was real. Tom had trusted him with everything, including his family's future happiness. Alex was determined to prove worthy of that trust. Alex and Lisa had been together for 8 months when everything changed. They had taken things slowly, just like they promised. First, they were just spending more time together as friends. Then came the small gestures, Alex bringing Lisa coffee in the morning, Lisa cooking his favorite meals, both of them staying up late talking about everything and nothing. The kids had adjusted better than anyone expected. Katie was away at college now, but when she came home for visits, she seemed happy to see Alex and her mother together. Dad would want Mom to be happy, she had told Alex one day, and you make her smile again. Bobby was 15 now and had been doing much better in school. His nightmares had stopped, and he even joined the baseball team Alex never missed a game, cheering from the stands like any proud parent would. Everything seemed perfect, which is probably why Alex should have seen the disaster coming. It started with a phone call. Alex was at the house helping Lisa plan Bobby's 16th birthday party when his sister called. She lived across the country and rarely contacted him, so Alex stepped into the other room to take the call. "How are things going with Tom's widow?" his sister asked. "Are you still playing house with his family?" "It's not like that," Alex said, but he kept his voice low. "Lisa and I are together now. It's real." "Come on, Alex, you can't tell me this wasn't Tom's idea somehow. He was always controlling, even when we were kids. Remember how he used to plan everyone's summer vacations? This is different. Tom just wanted his family to be taken care of, so he did plan this. I knew it. You're living out some dying man's fantasy instead of your own life." Alex tried to explain, but his sister kept interrupting. "You need to think about what you're doing. That poor woman deserves to choose her own future, not have it decided by her dead husband and his guilty best friend. Alex was getting frustrated. You don't understand the situation. I understand that you made some kind of promise to Tom, and now you're both trapped in it. We're not trapped. We love each other. Do you? Or do you love the idea of being the hero who saves his best friend's family? Alex was about to hang up when he realized Bobby was standing in the doorway. The teenager's face was pale, and his eyes were wide with shock. Bobby, how long have you been standing there? Long enough. Bobby's voice was shaky. Dad asked you to be with Mom. This whole thing was his idea. Alex's heart sank. Bobby, let me explain. Explain what? That everything has been fake. That you're only with us because Dad made you promise. That's not true. It started that way, but it became real. Bobby shook his head, backing away. I heard what your sister said. You're just keeping a promise to a dead man. Mom doesn't even know. Does she? Bobby, please listen to me. No, I'm done listening. I'm done pretending we're a real family. Bobby ran upstairs and slammed his bedroom door. Alex stood there feeling like his world was falling apart. Everything he and Tom had worried about was happening. The truth was out, and it was destroying the family they tried so hard to protect. Lisa appeared in the doorway. What was that about? Bobby seemed upset. Alex looked at the woman he'd come to love and knew he couldn't lie to her anymore. We need to talk. They sat on the couch where they'd spent so many evenings together. Alex told Lisa everything about Tom's request, about the promise he made, about how their relationship had started as an arrangement but had become something real. Lisa listened without saying a word. Her face went through a range of emotions: confusion, hurt, anger, and finally a kind of cold disappointment that was worse than any shouting would have been. So none of this was real, she said finally. That's not true. What we have now is completely real. How can I believe that? How can I trust any of my feelings when I know this all started as some elaborate plan? Because you know me, Lisa. You know how I feel about you and the kids. Lisa stood up and walked to the window. Do I? I thought I did. But now I find out that the man I've fallen in love with has been lying to me for over a year. I wasn't lying about my feelings. You were lying about your reasons. And that's almost worse. Lisa turned to face him. How much of your love for me is real, and how much is just you being a good friend keeping a promise? I don't know how to prove to you that it's real. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe even you don't know the difference anymore. They talked for hours, but nothing Alex said seemed to help. Lisa felt betrayed by both him and Tom. She felt like her choices had been taken away, like her whole life had been manipulated by two men who thought they knew what was best for her. I need time to think, Lisa said finally. I need space to figure out what I actually want, without any pressure from you or expectations from Tom's memory. Alex moved back to his own apartment that night. The next few weeks were the longest of his life. He tried to give Lisa the space she needed, but it was torture not being able to help when Bobby got sick, or when Lisa's car broke down, or when Katie called crying about college stress. Bobby wasn't speaking to him at all. Alex tried calling, texting, even showing up at baseball practice, but Bobby would just walk away. The kid felt betrayed and manipulated, and Alex couldn't blame him. Katie came home from college when she heard what happened. She was angry too, but in a different way. How could you keep this from Mom? She asked when Alex finally convinced her to meet him for coffee. She had a right to know. Your father thought it would be better if she didn't know. He thought it would make things feel fake. Well, surprise. Finding out later made it feel even more fake. Alex stirred his coffee absently. I know I messed up. I just don't know how to fix it. Do you actually love her, really love her? Not just because Dad asked you to. Alex looked up at Katie, seeing so much of Tom in her serious expression. Yes, I love her more than I've ever loved anyone. I love this family. I love being part of your lives. Then why did you agree to Dad's plan in the first place? If you didn't have feelings for Mom then, why say yes? It was a good question. One Alex had been asking himself. Because I love your father, and I couldn't stand the thought of you all struggling alone. But Katie, somewhere along the way. It stopped being about the promise and started being about wanting to build a life with you guys. Katie was quiet for a long time. Mom's really hurt. She feels like her whole relationship with you was based on a lie. How do I show her it wasn't? I don't know if you can. But maybe you could start by figuring out what you want, not what Dad wanted, not what you think we need, but what Alex wants. That conversation stayed with Alex for days. What did he want? He'd spent so long trying to fulfill Tom's wishes and take care of the family that he'd never really examined his own desires. The answer came to him gradually. He wanted to wake up next to Lisa every morning. He wanted to help Bobby with homework and cheer at his games. He wanted to walk Katie down the aisle Sunday and argue with her about her choice of boyfriends. He wanted to grow old with this family, not because Tom had asked him to, but because they made him happier than he'd ever been in his life. 3 weeks after the truth came out, Alex showed up at Lisa's house with a letter. Not flowers or gifts or grand gestures, just a simple letter explaining everything he should have said months ago. Lisa read it while Alex waited on the porch. When she came outside, her eyes were red from crying. "You wrote that Tom knew us better than we knew ourselves," she said. "I think he did. I think he saw that we could love each other before we saw it ourselves, maybe. But that doesn't excuse the lying. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry, Lisa. I should have told you everything from the beginning." Lisa sat down next to him on the porch steps. "I've been thinking about something. Tom was always a planner. Remember how he used to plan our vacations down to the minute? How he had our whole financial future mapped out before we were even married?" Alex nodded. "He couldn't plan for cancer, but he tried to plan for everything that came after, in a weird way. That's exactly the kind of thing he would do. Are you saying you forgive him?" "I'm saying I understand him, and I understand you too. You made a promise to your dying best friend. How could you not keep it?" They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching Bobby practice basketball in the driveway. He still wasn't talking to Alex, but at least he wasn't running away anymore. "So where does this leave us?" Alex asked. "I don't know yet, but I do know one thing. Whatever happens next has to be our choice, not Tom's plan, not anyone's expectations. Just what we want. What do you want, Lisa?" She looked at him with those kind eyes that had first made Tom fall in love with her. 20 years ago, "I want to try again. But this time, no secrets, no promises to dead people. Just us figuring it out together." Alex felt hope for the first time in weeks. "Just us. Well, us into teenagers who are going to have strong opinions about everything we do." Alex laughed. "Especially Bobby. He'll come around. He's hurt right now, but he loves you. We all do." 6 months later, Alex and Lisa got married in a small ceremony in their backyard. Katie walked her mother down the aisle since she insisted she was now the head of the family. Bobby was Alex's best man, having finally forgiven him after a long conversation about love, promises, and second chances. During the ceremony, they had a moment of silence for Tom, not because he had planned their marriage,